Hey guys, in this video we're talking about reinforcing old patterns and stories that are no longer supportive to you and getting rid of these old stories and belief systems that are keeping you stuck. But you have to understand that your ego is literally made up of your traumas and beliefs and conditionings of your past. That could come from childhood, that could be a generational thing. But you are not your ego, you're not your personality, you're not what you think you are. You're actually a lot more than that. And if you're looking to create a life that is soul aligned, that feels really good and purposeful, where you feel free and confident in yourself, you don't care about what other people think, then we need to work on trauma healing. We need to work on the ego and understanding when you're playing out old stories and why you are, what your actual needs are beneath those things, so that you can come into a place of power in yourself instead of being a victim to your life. And my camera is kind of, okay. So if you don't know me already, my name is Grace Moralia. I specialize in trauma healing and subconscious reprogramming using my transformative healing techniques that I share in all of my offers. You can check out both of my masterclasses below. One of them is From People Pleaser to Self-Empowered. It's teaching you how to get out of people-pleasing tendencies, things where you're giving your power away to other people that don't actually deserve it, so that you can come into a self-empowered version of yourself that's more free and confident. Very, very powerful. I know that you guys have been enjoying it, so I'm grateful for all of you that have checked it out. I also have my favorite one, which is the Self Love Accelerator, which is teaching you how to love yourself, how to establish boundaries with other people, especially in your family or close relationships, so that you can take your energy back from distractions or from people that aren't really reciprocating or treating you the way that you want to be treated, so that you can develop a better and stronger relationship with yourself, start meeting your needs, start loving yourself. And we also talk about how to heal self-love blocks, because you'd find as you go on the self-love journey, and maybe you already know a little bit about this, but the more that you heal whatever traumas or limiting beliefs that you have, the more that you love yourself naturally, because love is your natural state of being. It's not actually separate from you. But when we have these distortions and when we have this heaviness or this stuckness that's keeping us blinded from ourselves, then we really don't know what self-love feels like. So we're talking about that in the Self-Love Accelerator. You can download that below. Check out to see which one calls most to you. That one's my favorite, but I love both of them. And please like and subscribe if you like my energy. Comment below. Let's get into it. So in order for you to become who you want to be, and I just took a nap and I'm about to go get some pasta, but I came and I feel like I look a little pale, but it's okay. Because I'm showing up for you guys to give you this information because it's life-changing. I mean, what my role is to relay this information to you guys. So in order for you to become who you're meant to become, you have to see what you're not. You have to look at what you're holding on to that isn't you. And you have to really fucking care about yourself above other people and what they think of you. Because in my work, the biggest issue that I see is that people are defined so much by their family relationships and their close relationships. And a lot of our family relationships and close relationships have trauma in them. Unspoken needs, desires, things that haven't been, seen. And that could have been from a young age, especially if we're dealing with childhood trauma. But when we foster relationships that aren't really healthy, or just hold old energies of unsupportive patterns, like if you were abused, for example, in some way by mom or dad, and you never got an apology or you never got closure on that, but you're still in their life and you haven't done the healing work that you need to do to release it, you're around relationships that are triggering it's triggering your emotions, and it is making you believe that you're less than. People tend to value other people's opinions above their own until they come back to self-love and establish boundaries and really figure out what they're worth. So that's important. We need to create right relationship with yourself on a deeper level for you to feel confident and free in yourself and to become who you're meant to be, because it's not about them. So I have a series of questions I wrote down and that I want to bring into the space for you. So let's think about you. What about you and your dreams? Do you tend to yourself truly? Or are you just tending to what other people need and what you think that they need? And maybe they don't even need that. Why are you giving everything away from people? This is important. Why are you giving everything away to people? What do you get from doing that? Our ego attaches onto ways of being like a fucking leech and is saying, this is me. This is how I relate to the world. This is how I show up. And it's not feeding you on a soul level. Your soul would tell you, this doesn't feel good to me. This relationship doesn't feel good to me. This pattern doesn't feel good to me. But we replay, our subconscious replays the same patterns over and over again, and they manifest as relationships and career paths and financial situations over and over and over again until you sit up and say, I'm going to do the internal work and I'm going to heal myself and I'm going to love myself, which is why I'm here to help you do that, all right? So it's important to ask yourself, when you know you're playing out unhealthy patterns, to ask yourself, or you're giving all your energy away to people, what part of you wants that? What part of you wants that? Are you truly getting anything from it on a soul level? When you ask yourself the right questions in healing work, you get different answers that point you to deeper wounds. In my work and what I teach, I'm always looking for what I call core wounds. And this is a part of my transformative healing techniques that I share with you in all of my programs and offerings. And there are certain tools and strategies that we go over that are going into the true reasons why you show up the way that you do, the true reasons you keep manifesting the same relationships, and the true reasons you feel stuck and out of purpose or out of self-love, whatever it is for you. And the core wounds mean the things that you were really carrying around from your past that are the deepest. And sometimes we don't know in words what those things are. Maybe they just feel heavy or like a burden or painful, whatever. But they exist. And they usually control our lives and our decisions until we can see beyond them. Like, oh, I'm more than this. I don't actually want to play this pattern out anymore. So if you understand what the real incentive for you giving all your energy away to people who don't reciprocate you, or feeling like you have to show up to people when it doesn't feel good to you, if you understand what the emotion is underneath that action, you have an opportunity to take your power back and work on healing and loving that part of you, which is what I share with you in the Self Love Accelerator. You need to learn to develop self-love in order for you to come into purpose and in order for you to feel empowered and confident and really just create a life that feels good to you. So, you know, when you're choosing to be in toxic relationship dynamics, the question was, are you truly gaining anything on a soul level, or is your ego just feeding this pattern that keeps wounding you over and over again? So you're being re-wounded by the same pain points and trauma responses that reinforce your limiting beliefs about what you are and aren't worthy of. That's fire. Let me repeat that. Are you truly gaining anything on a soul level, or are you allowing yourself to be re-wounded by the same pain points and trauma responses that reinforce your limiting beliefs about what you are and aren't worthy of? That's what the ego does. Because that's all it knows. Your ego knows trauma. Your ego knows fear. Your ego knows control. But when you're connected to yourself on a soul level, you're not run by those things. You are run by love and trust and self-awareness. You are like a steady golden tree. That's how it feels. When you are in purpose, when you are in self-trust, when you trust life, which is a process when we have dysregulated nervous systems, grow up in traumatic households. I know what you're thinking. How can you tell me to just regulate my nervous system or trust life or live in love? it's not that simple. There are layers to it, which is why you need to do the inner healing work. But your ego knows pain. So the work is to get out of those old stories and actually give your ego and wounds what they need instead of letting them run the show. They are parts of you. They are not the whole shebang. Your ego is a part of you, but who you are is not that, is not fear, is not distrust. Okay? So another question is, how are you reinforcing old patterns and stories in your life and in your relationships that you don't want to exist anymore? How funny are we that we literally play out the same relationship dynamics even when we know they're toxic? With ourselves, with others, we keep replaying the same experiences. We keep putting ourselves in the same experiences. And you know why? It's because it's honestly, I would say, a trauma response. And it's a way of relating to the world that we're so used to because we're creatures of habit. We don't even know anything else would exist. But the power of healing work and the power of self-love is that you're stripping away the layers that keep you out of yourself. You want to go deeper and deeper into who you are and what is true for you. And how are you going to know what is true for you if you don't look at what you're not first? You're not your pain. You're not your fear. You're not your heartbreak. Underneath that is who you are. So why do you want to reinforce these old patterns and stories? What are you gaining from it? Is it a false sense of power? Is it validation? Is it belonging to something? I belong to this distortion. I belong to these relationship dynamics. I found safety here even though it's unsafe and makes me feel like shit. What is it for you? You need to bring it up and see it. And who would you be on the other side of those stories if you let them go? If you let them die, if you healed yourself, if you utilized trauma healing, if you really went in on yourself and did the inner healing work and you did the self-love work and you learned to establish boundaries, who would you be after healing your core wounds? What would you receive from life? What would you receive by releasing your old beliefs? A whole new version of you, but you need to be willing to feel unstuck, to get unstuck. You have to be willing to face yourself, to go to the stickier place and to ask these deeper questions. If I could ask you to journal about something, it would be, how are you reinforcing old patterns and stories in your life and in your relationships that you don't want to exist anymore? And why? What are you and your ego gaining from it? What does your soul truly want? What is being asked? What wants to birth on the other side of you letting your old stories die? What wants to birth? Hint, you. You want to birth. You, your purpose, your soul, your alignment, your personal freedom. Thriving relationships, thriving career wants to birth. And I know what you're thinking. How would you know? Well, I have to go through it. I had to go through it. I've created a life of purpose through this healing work, which is why I'm sitting here 9.5 years later, probably 10 years later, after starting doing this deep healing work. I know because I've gone through the grit, I've gone through the mud, and I'm here to teach you transformative healing techniques to get you from feeling stuck to feeling connected, solid, understanding your purpose, why you're here, who you are, not caring about what other people think. And I'm shortcutting your time from where you are to where you want to be by helping you bridge the gap. And if you want to do that and you're having issues with loving yourself, establishing boundaries, creating a better self-loving relationship and healing relationship with yourself, and you want to live purposefully and connected, check out the Self Love Accelerator below, and it will help you do that. My one-on-one coaching is full right now, but you're always welcome to book a free consultation if you're interested in connecting about doing intensive trauma healing and subconscious reprogramming so that you can feel connected and in purpose with yourself. That's also below. Please like and subscribe. Let me know how this resonates with you. I hope this was helpful and brought you some awareness. Okay, bye.